Hey friends, today I'm going to talk about all of these series that I started, finished and DNFed in 2018. So I always love doing like a little serious wrap up at the end or the beginning of the year rather, and just talk about everything that I have started, finished and DNFed. So I will not be mentioning like series that I'm like in the middle of, that I like read the second book from. I hope I didn't forget anything. And let's just get into it with the series that I have started. So these are the series that I have started and I'm planning to continue either when I get to the next book or when the next book comes out. Everything else that I've started this year where I'm not planning to continue will show up in the DNF section. So first off, I started the Queen's Rising trilogy by Rebecca Ross. I read the first and the second book because I was fortunate enough to get an arc of the sequel, which only comes out in March, and I love this series so much already. I am so excited to finish this in 2020. Sounds so far away, but we all know it's gonna go quick. But yeah, I really love this and I'm excited to finish it when the final book comes out. Then we have the Reign of the Fallen series by Sarah Glenn Marsh. I'm not even sure how many books there are gonna be. I would guess a trilogy, but I know the second book comes out this month and I am definitely, while I didn't love this first one, I'm super intrigued to continue this series because I think that I will probably love the second book more. I have very high hopes for it considering what's gonna be kind of in it, and yeah, just really excited to continue this one as well. Then I have the Folk of the Air trilogy by Holly Black. I read The Cruel Prince and The Wicked King in 2018, and another one where I was just fortunate enough to get an arc, which is why I already read the sequel as well. But yeah, another one where I'm super excited for the final book in 2020. Then I have the Onyx and Ivory series by Mindy Arnett. I read the first book, Onyx and Ivory. I definitely hope that I still have enough investment by the time the sequel comes out, because I did really enjoy the first book, but I also am already starting to forget things about it. So this is one of those books where I'm like, will I actually continue though? But right now I'm definitely planning to. Then I have the Heart of Thorns trilogy by Brie Barton. This is another one where I am definitely starting to forget things that happened in the first book, but this first book had even more potential than Onyx and Ivory, and I really love the second half of this book. So I'm actually super looking forward to the sequel, and I really hope that it comes out this year so that I can really get into it and hopefully really fall in love with the series. No idea how many books there are gonna be, but I'm excited. Then we have the Furyborn trilogy by Claire Legrand. I don't even know if it's gonna be a trilogy. Maybe it's a duology too, but I read Furyborn in 2018 and this is another one that I didn't love, but I definitely was super intrigued by, and I just cannot wait to continue. I have requested an arc of the sequel, so let's see how that goes. Then we have the Ruined trilogy by Amy Tintera. I have read Ruined and the sequel Avenged, and I'm waiting to read the third book. What's it called? I can't think of the title right now, but I definitely want to read this as soon as possible. I've been kind of waiting for the audiobook to maybe potentially get available on my Overdrive, but I don't think it's gonna happen, so I will probably just end up buying the third book. But I am truly loving this trilogy, so I cannot wait to finish it as soon as possible in 2019. And finally, I have the Girls of Paper and Fire trilogy by Natasha Young. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be a trilogy, and I read the first book just at the end of 2018, and I cannot wait to continue this series as well. I really love this first book, and I think that the sequel has so many new and exciting things in store. It's gonna be so amazing. Now let's get into the series that I finished in 2018. First off, I finished the Daughter of the Pirate King duology by Trisha Levenseller. I did read both Daughter of the Pirate King and Daughter of the Siren Queen in 2018, and I really love this duology. I think it is just really fun, but also really brutal at the same time. It's just this really amazing pirate duology that I really love, and I'm just so glad that I finally picked up the first book in 2018 and then immediately finished this duology. Then finally I finished the Study trilogy by Maria V. Snyder. I read both Magic Study and Fire Study in 2018. I took my good old time with reading these books, but I fucking did it. And this is just the first part in a 9-book series overall, but I did kind of want to count it as its own trilogy, and I just really hope that I can actually start and finish the like second trilogy in this series as well. But for now, I'm just really happy I finally managed to finish this first trilogy. Then I also finished the Illuminate Files by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. The final book, Obsidio, came out in 2018, and so I read it. Have mixed feelings about this trilogy overall now that I'm done with it, because I just don't really think it's that good. Honestly, it's very entertaining, but there's so many repeated things happening in these 3 books, and I'm just like, I mean, thank God that at least you can kind of get through these quickly. But yeah, just looking back at the whole trilogy, I'm not the biggest fan, quite honestly. Then I also finished the Themis Files by Sylvain Nouvel. The 3rd book, which at this point I don't even remember what it's called at this point, came out in 2018, and I finished the trilogy, and I just really I don't like it. It's not for me at all, and I just don't really get why everybody loves it. Quite like, not even in a I don't get it, but just in a I genuinely don't get it. I'm like questioning myself. I also finished the Warcross trilogy by Mary Lou. Wildcard came out in 2018, and I read it immediately. Definitely didn't like the sequel as much as I liked the first book, but still a pretty solid duology overall. I also finished the Strange to Dreamer duology by Laini Taylor. Muse of Nightmares came out in 2018, and I read it and I loved it. This is a great, fantastic duology. I'm just realizing I read quite a lot of duologies this year, didn't I? Well, it's 3 duologies. I need to calm down, but it feels like a lot. And finally, in 2018, I finished the Dark Artifices series by Cassandra Clare. The final book, Queen of Air and Darkness, came out in 2018, and I read it immediately as it came out. This is definitely a series that had a little bit of a disappointing ending, but I'm still very happy that I finished these 3 big books. This was a whole ass journey. These were my series that I finished. Honestly, this time around, not really serious in here that I just binged all the way through, which is what I usually tend to do, but haven't really done in the past like 2 years since I've been reading a lot of new releases. There's just a lot of series in here that I finished because the final book came out. So definitely something I want to change next year, but still, I'm very proud that I've finished quite a lot of series. And finally, here are some series that I've decided to DNF in 2018. So the first one is Heart of Iron by Ashley Poston. This definitely breaks my heart a little bit, but I wasn't a big fan of Heart of Iron. I thought it was very disappointing, and I just don't care enough about the world or the characters, even though I like the characters, but I definitely already have already forgotten everything about the story and the characters, and so I just do not care enough to like reread Heart of Iron for the sequel, so I'm DNFing this series, sadly. Then I have the Three Dark Crowns Quartet, I guess. Doesn't this have a name? I'm pretty sure this series has a name. Did I read Three Dark Crowns this year or last year? I'm not even sure, but I did read One Dark Throne this year, and I was just feeling very mediocre about both of these books, and I just am realizing that it's not worth it for me to continue this series. I just think that there are similar concept series out there that are much better. And so I just do not want to waste any more time on this series. I'm sad because this could have been like a favorite, but it wasn't. Then I have Ashes of Gold by Julia Ember. I actually talked about this in last year's series because I read the first book, The Tiger's Watch, in 2017. And then I even said in that video that by the time the sequel comes out, I might have, stopped caring, and that is exactly what happened. So I just, 2018 was just the year that I decided that I would not continue this series. Then we have Magic 2.0 by Scott Meyer. I read the first book in the series this year, and I just didn't really like it enough to want to continue with this series. Then we have the Red Abbey Chronicles by Maria Turchaninov. I read the first book, Marisai, and I definitely really like this, but I just am not really interested in reading more about this. This is a standalone, basically, but it has a prequel, and I think it has a sequel, but I don't really think that it's necessary to read them, so I just decided to DNF and see this book as a standalone. Then I have The Lady Pirates by Jennifer Elysion. I read the first book, Over Raging Tides, and while I really liked it and was definitely thinking about continuing it, while I was kind of going through my list of series that I read in 2018, I just realized that I do not remember a single thing about the first book, and so I am not invested enough to want to continue by the time time the sequel comes out. And then finally, I decided to DNF the Serena Legacy. I read the first book of Poseidon and the second book of Triton in 2018, and I really liked both of these books, but the second book definitely ends in a way that it was very satisfying, and I have heard very bad things about the final book, and I do not want to read it at all. I do not want to ruin my experience of the first two books, so I have just decided that for me, this series is a duology and the third book doesn't exist, so... And yeah, this is my kind of update on all of my series. I always kind of hope to look back at these videos and just look at the series that I have started and just think, okay, I have finished this, I have DNF'd this, or I'm still caught up on this series. So that is also why I love doing this, because it's a really fun thing to look back at, and I just love being caught up on series and finishing series, and I never want to lose that despite how many new releases I read. And so these videos are always really important to me, but I also think it's always really fun to kind of just update you on all of the series that I read in the year. So yeah, let me know if you have read a lot of series this year. Were there also a lot of series that ended for you, so you just kind of by default finished a lot of them? And yeah, I make new videos every Wednesday and Sunday with occasional reviews on Friday, so click subscribe to never miss anything and hit the little bell so you get notified as well. And thank you so much for watching. I guess I'll see you soon. Bye!